this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and use Photoshop CC 2020 to create transparent text with kind of a glowing text effect. So it works really well if you've got something with a really dark background. In this case, we're going to go ahead and do one over the jellyfish image. So let's go ahead and open up our jellyfish original. We have here, you can see it's a nice dark photo, but it's got some really cool accent colors that we can use to help create that glowing look. So let's go ahead and do a file, save as. Let's do first initial. Let's make sure we're in the right place. So transparent type, first initial, last name, underscore, jellyfish, or transparent type. And let's go ahead and save it as a Photoshop document. Not a PSB, PSD, there we go. And a Photoshop document. So let's go ahead and say save. All right, let's go our image size, see what we're working with here before we get started. Right now this one is 26 inches by 15, so we know that's a little bit more than 2 feet wide, which is a lot wider than we're ever going to need to use it. Let's go ahead and take that width down to 6 inches. It's going to take the height down to about 3. Let's bump the resolution up to about 300. So we could use this in a print application. We're going to leave our resample 2.0 on and say OK. I'm going to go ahead and Control Save just as we go along. Control S. All right, so let's go ahead and grab our type tool over on the toolbar. With the type tool, we're going to go ahead and just determine what we want. So I'm going to go ahead and make this impact. And you can always just go in and type in the name. You want something that's a little bit fatter, works a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and use regular. For our case, we're going to go ahead and take this down to about 60 points. If you need to, you can always change it later on. I'm going to go ahead and center it, and I'm going to change my color to be a white for now. You can either go up to the corner or you can write FFF is the code for white and say OK. We're going to go ahead and click. Whoa, it didn't change to 300. Let's undo. Let's go ahead and change that down to about 60. All right, I'm going to grab my move tool and kind of move that over. And I'm going to go ahead and write under the sea. I kind of like it in all caps. You get kind of a nicer look, but it's totally up to you as to how you're going to go ahead and do that. I'm now going to use my move tool, kind of figure out where I want it on the image. You can always move it after the fact. This is pretty easy to move. You can use those smart guides to make sure you're centering. All right, I'm going to do a Control S and save what I've got so far. All right, let's go ahead to go to our layer panel. We're going to go ahead and select that text layer. We're going to now create that glowing text effect. The first thing we want to do is adjust this fill and take it down to 0. And that's going to make our letters completely disappear. Don't panic, it's okay. We know exactly what's going to happen there. All right, now we want to go to Layer. We want to come down here to Layer Style. And we want to come down to Outer Glow. All right, now we want to set some things in Outer Glow. So we want our opacity to be 100%. So how see-through, how bright do you want it to be? I want my size to be about 20 or so. You can kind of play with those and see how much glow you want. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 20. And I want to go ahead and make sure I change the color. So this one's already got kind of a blue. I can go ahead and choose a different blue if I do Control Plus, and I can move around. Maybe I really want to make sure I get that color blue, or I really want this bright colored blue. So you have a few different options using that picker. So Control minus, and you see how it's changing the color of that shadow. So you do have a lot of options as far as using your image in order to come up with those colors. All right, then we're going to go ahead and say OK. So it's not bad, but it doesn't have quite the look that we're going for yet. So let's go ahead and turn the fill value, or say OK. Let's take that fill value and take it back to 100%. And you see how it's really hard to see. That's why we turned it off before we started, so we can kind of get a better idea. Let's go to our blending modes. So instead of normal, we want to come down here to overlay. All right, now we want to add some layer style. So you see it got just a little bit kind of a brighter almost. So let's go ahead and play with the layer style. Let's go down here to the bottom to the FX and go grab Inner Glow. So we want to make sure we grab that inner glow. We want to make it kind of a dark color. So instead of this color here, I'm going to go ahead and sample a dark color from my thing. Let me show you what it looks like if you do kind of a lighter one. You can kind of see how the different colors change on the inside of those letters. So I kind of like it with a darker. It makes it look a little bit better. So that's my color. My blend mode is going to be multiply. My opacity is going to be about 40%. And my size is going to be about 18. So, you know, you can try you can see if you play with it, how you get that inner glow. See how it's dark, how it's making that shadow inside change. So I'm going to go ahead and make that 18 and say OK. And now I can push save. So if you wanted to, instead of under the C, you could easily go in with your text tool and change out the text to be something else now that you've got those elements put together. It's relatively easy to share that from one thing to another. So for this transparent text tutorial, you're going to turn in this one and you're going to turn in another transparent text sample. There are a few more in the drive if you want to go ahead and play with one of those, or you're welcome to find one of your own to try this glowing text effect. Good luck, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.